Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to WrestlingHistoX, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
M is for Michael.
I am stage manager Shandy Turnbuckle.
Welcome to episode 276, WCW Monday Night Nitro.
How does the Nitro riff go?
Guitar,
flames, explosion.
Yeah. Is that how it is?
Something like that.
Yeah. I was just trying to figure it out. It's like, well, I know the Raw one's more like of a like hard rock song. But
this is more of like a garage band trying to just attract attention.
Yeah. Someone's just soloing.
Yep.
Well, they're not paying for music in WCW. Come on, guys.
Nah.
They're paying for dancers.
Her name is Kimberly.
Sorry, Kimberly and her four friends.
There you go.
That pay her no attention whatsoever.
So this is the 108th episode of Nitro, produced by WCW. It took place on October 6th, 1997, from the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with an attendance of 14,357.
Damn.
It's a big old crowd.
And a TV rating of 3.9.
We'll talk about Raw next week?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, well, what did Raw do? We can have that conversation later.
But we are in Minnesota. Minneapolis, to be specific.
Yes.
So, Shane, did you do what you do?
I did what I do. Yes, I did. Yes, we are Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm pretty sure we've been to Minnesota before. I can't think off the top of my head right now.
Have to have been.
But yeah, I did what I do in the sense that I got on Google and said, what the fuck do people in Minnesota eat? What is Minneapolis famous for? And there's all kinds of delicious stuff that can't really be found around here. Other stuff that it's just way too freaking hot out right now because, as Matt mentioned before the mics came on, we're in a heat wave right now apparently, and it's only going to get hotter. So wild rice soup just didn't sound like a wise choice.
Yeah.
Same with pho. I love me some pho, but it is too fucking hot out right now for pho.
That's rainy day food.
Yes. Why can't anywhere be like, we have gazpacho. That's our specialty. Because it's Minnesota, Shane. You should know this. Anywho's, what I did find was a wide variety of different sweets and stuff. And apparently the turtle cake is a popular dessert up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Unfortunately, there aren't many places in town that serve just plain old turtle cake. So I had to find what I could, and I found Cheesecake Factory has a caramel cheesecake turtle cake or something like that. How is the wording on it again? It is the caramel pecan turtle cheesecake. So yeah, there's some caramel, there's some like a dark chocolate cakey bottom, there's a caramel cheesecake center, and then more dark chocolate frosting on top. I believe there's some pecans in there because you can't have a turtle something without pecans and caramel. Looks good. How does it taste?
Absolutely wonderful.
It's very good.
All right.
Though saying caramel pecan and then also saying turtle
It's crazy.
is kind of
That's
like...
what it is, because it's just a chocolate cake with caramel and pecans, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Something tells me that Cheesecake Factory may do like the Japanese way of translating and then retranslating and then retranslating so that you get all these words that you don't necessarily need. But, you know,
number one best cheesecake.
They're just fun to say together. Cheesecake with cream cheese.
I don't know. The only thing I know about Minneapolis is that the Replacements are from Minneapolis.
Like the movie The Replacements?
No, the band.
Oh, the band. Gotcha.
There, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to Cheesecake. Good God. To Minneapolis. Cheese curds was one of the things on there, but I figured by the time I got cheese curds here, they wouldn't be as ooey gooey fried deliciousness.
Oh, Prince.
Yeah, but I couldn't bring him.
Prince is from Minneapolis. No, yeah, we can have a seance.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here.
So yeah, I've got this loving spoonful of chocolatey, caramely, turtley cheesecake with pecans.
That Lovin' Spoonful is not from Minneapolis.
No, it's not from the Cheesecake Factory either. It's from Awaji Izakaya. They have a loving spoonful.
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about the band.
Double chocolate, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not going to make any noise because it's already on my spoon, but I'm going to take a bite so I can talk with my mouth full because, that's what I do. That's why, you guys tune into this portion of the show. So you can hear me talk with my mouth full. So.
For mouth sounds? Oh my gosh.
You see?
No, it just fell off the spoon.
It did, but
didn't make a sound.
It landed on the table. All right, shut up, Shane. Take a bite. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Yep. That's a big old bite.
Very
I think
sweet,
I've had more Cheesecake Factory for the podcast than I've ever had Cheesecake Factory just in regular life.
I mean, yeah, I've only eaten a meal there once or twice, but
I've never eaten a meal
even
there.
ex-girlfriend, if we were ever near the Cheesecake Factory, we'd be like, all right, let's go grab a slice of cheesecake.
Menu's too damn long.
Yep.
Yeah.
I said that just placing the online order for 2 slices of cheesecake because it took forever to scroll through that shit to find
What you're looking for?
Yeah.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as this Nitro, Everclear would release their 3rd album, So Much for the Afterglow, the very next day, containing songs such as Father of Mine and I Will Buy You a New Life.
This is a band that has so many singles that everybody knows. I've never listened to an album, and I've never had an issue or really disliked any of the singles. They're perfectly fine. It's kind of like the last credible radio, like quote-unquote college rock band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, like they got hits, these songs your mom could like, or anybody. Yeah, they're like the last one of that era, I feel like, that really popped off. And all those bands, you say college rock, like or I don't even know if that's the right term, but
it depends on when you went to college.
Exactly. Like it's more of like, I guess, just like the friendly, like your Sister Hazel's, your Hootie and the Blowfishes, stuff like that.
Oh, Sister Hazel. I expected bigger things from them, and they just didn't hold up the way I thought they were going to.
No, it didn't help that, there was 3 other bands that sounded like them at the same time.
Yep.
I mean, that is, like, you putting them in with basically Sister Hazel and Hootie and the Blowfish, Everclear, I'm just like...
It makes sense.
I mean, I guess kind of. I always felt Everclear was more of a like, true rock band than a...
They seriously have all these albums?
Okay, how about this? Third Eye Blind.
Yes.
But, yeah, Third Eye Blind, I guess they're both more on the rock side for sure.
Yeah.
But they're like pretty, like, outside of that one Third Eye Blind song about doing meth, like, and most people didn't notice that anyway. But
even though it's in the song doing crystal meth.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, he says the words fast, the chorus is catchy.
What?
Yeah.
It says crystal meth?
Yeah.
I always just heard...
You definitely went to that. See, you understand it if you're on crystal meth.
Yeah. Did you guys have an Everclear record?
I did not.
I had a friend that was pretty into them. I just mostly remember the singles. I think the song Santa Monica off of one of their earlier albums is a song that everybody...
Sparkle and Fade, the second album.
Yeah, that everybody kind of learns how to play on guitar immediately because it's just like 2 notes. It's kind of like the late 90s version of Smoke on the Water for learning guitar.
Right, show me the song list. Like, I know there's more than 4 songs.
Mm-hmm.
For So Much for the Afterglow?
The joke with this band is that all the songs are about, him being poor and, not having a dad. But you got to write what you know. My father gave me a name and he walked away. Buy you a new life. Isn't there a Afterglow Part 2 or something? Didn't they do like a...
No, they did. The next album was Alex, the lead singer, basically did a pop album basically by himself.
Oh, okay.
Called Songs from American Movie Volume 1.
Yeah, those 2 albums are pretty big too. My friend had those as well.
Where he basically did like a 70s rock or 70s pop type style album. But then the Volume 2, he joined back up with the rest of the guys and did a
But yeah, they had like a 4-album run.
punk hard rock thing.
A 4-album run that's like
they were
impressive.
They were kind of the band that like they didn't contain themselves really to like one sound. Like they kind of moved from anywhere from pop rock to a little bit more of a punk sound on certain things. So they were just kind of all over the place. Which
I bet we could see him at the Zoo Amphitheater if we wanted to see him.
Oh, I bet we could.
Yeah,
probably so.
Probably with one of the other bands we listen to.
Say either at the Zoo Amphitheater or possibly State Fair lineup.
Oh yeah, State Fair lineup is reserved for Blue Oyster Cult at this point.
I don't know. POD was there a couple years
Hinder's
ago.
coming for the second year in a row.
Oh,
Hinder,
yeah. I saw Hinder back in the day, open for Creed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was a hinder to my enjoyment of the concert.
Yeah, Everclear, I mean, I enjoyed them. The thing I'll say that bothered me about them was a lot of their songs sounded the same as they started, so it took me a minute to always figure out which song is this.
Oh yeah, I can see that. But they always had a catchy chorus, which is why they had so many damn singles.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, this one, Everything to Everyone. Whoa.
And their songs were about stuff. But their songs were about stuff a lot. Like, most songs are about a thing, but a lot of times the chorus is just like, yeah, and I'll love you forever or something
Promises
that just like doesn't, yeah, like
when
so.
you're little and the world is so big.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, yeah.
I think
there's a point of view for this band.
Yeah, it was like nice. This album was like right after his second divorce, I believe. So that's a few of the songs are definitely about that kind of thing. But enough about Everclear.
That's right.
Let's talk some Nitro.
Somebody's got to.
And black screen comes on. WCW extends their thoughts and prayers to the family of Brian Pillman, as this is the night after he passed away.
Yeah, so this is the Nitro after, I guess WWF had a pay-per-view. Nitro, or WCW did not have one.
Yeah, WWF had Bad Blood.
Yeah,
just the night after.
So we're just at, we're probably less than 24 hours after the end of that show for sure.
Yeah. The opening package then plays with the fire leading to the logo before Tony Schiavone welcomes everybody to the show. The Nitro girls do some dancing on the stage as Tony talks over them to preview some of the matches for the evening, followed by introducing Mike Tenay and Larry Zbyszko. They continue the rundown of the matches when Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff interrupt by making their way to the ring. Bischoff takes the mic to rip into Singh for coming out when Hogan wasn't there, before handing it over to Hollywood, who hypes up Minnesota, the NWO, and his movie, Assault on Devil's Island.
You guys seen it?
No.
No.
Are we going to add that to the movie list?
Oh, it should be.
I've seen the Babysitter one and
Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny. I always want to call it Mr. Mom, but that's not. But it's like,
Mr.
no, that's
Mom
a real
is
movie.
incredible.
Yeah.
Mr. Mom is an Academy Award nominated. It should have won some awards.
But it's similar titles. So I'm always like, which one's the Hogan one? It's like, oh, the one with the less good name, obviously. And then I've seen, of course, for this show, we watched No Holds Barred.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the only Hogan movies I've seen.
Probably should just leave it at that.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Suburban Commando has some fun spots in it that I can remember just because it had the I want to say that's the one that had Undertaker as like one of the baddies in it. This is I think right after he had debuted in the WWF.
Oh, nice.
Hogan then says that the Stinger came out here when he was gone filming, but now that he's here, Sting is nowhere to be found. Followed by talking about what he's going to do to Roddy Piper when he gets here this evening.
What you gonna do, brother?
We then go to our first match. Jeff Jarrett with Queen Debra versus Booker T with Miss Jacqueline. And today tells us that Stevie Ray is out injured with an Achilles injury, leading to Booker going it solo.
This is where it all starts, huh?
And our two competitors trade arm drags and hip tosses when Double J misses a dropkick, allowing Booker T to hit one of his own to send Jarrett to the floor to regroup. And Booker gets too close to the ropes, so Double J trips him up and rams his leg against the side of the ring, continuing the punishment with chokes and a running straddle. Booker T then avoids a charge into a corner, rolling up Jarrett for a 2 count, but Double J responds with a back elbow and a body slam, before missing an elbow drop, allowing Booker to try for an elbow drop, only for Jarrett to move in time, so Booker T spin-a-roonies up and nails a Harlem sidekick to send Double J to the floor.
Wrestling can be so simple. What a good spot.
Exactly.
Booker follows out to keep up the attack as we head to commercial. But we come back to the action with Jarrett coming off the top with a crossbody for a near fall. Double J then hits a clothesline and a dropkick, only to then telegraph a back body drop,
Don't do it.
allowing Booker T to flip over into a small package for a 2 count. Jarrett then rakes the eyes to slow the momentum, delivers an uppercut and a clothesline, but Booker drops Double J with a forearm smash and a Harlem kick off of a whip. Booker T with a body slam and an axe kick, making the cover for the pin, and no, Jarrett gets a boot on the ropes. Booker then knocks Double J out of the ring with a clothesline, when Mongo would come running down to ringside to yell at Debra.
To cheers. Mongo getting cheered.
And the Queen just slaps her husband. McMichael then takes his frustrations out on Jarrett, decking and rolling him back into the ring for Booker T to roll him up for the pin and the win. And I believe I mentioned this on the Fall Brawl episode, but Double J doesn't make it to Halloween Havoc. So this is the last time we see him for a while in WCW. Shivani then sends us to a video about Halloween Havoc. We see a cage, followed by Piper making the announcement. It will be him versus Hogan inside of it. And we get cut back and forth between the two talking about the other, for the narrator says it will be their final confrontation.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I looked. It's definitely not their last one. Tony then tells us all about WCW Saturday Night. Lex Luger, Jeff Jarrett, Disco Inferno, Ray Traylor, and Chris Jericho will all be in action on TBS this Saturday, 6:05 p.m. Eastern.
Ray Traylor?
Yeah, like that'll put asses in seats.
What's Big Bubba's real name?
Ray Traylor.
Ray Traylor.
Is it him?
Yeah.
I never know where he is. He's a real man about town.
That's where he is now.
I know he's wrestling as Ray Traylor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right now he's wrestling as Ray Traylor in WCW.
Yeah, he'll be in WWF in no time.
He could just blink and he's there.
It feels like he has a...
I mean, the last time we saw him, he was in the NWO, and he's been kicked out for minutes. So.
Yeah. I even forgot that, but yeah, he's one of those guys that feels like he has like carte blanche to just go between the two companies and nobody cares.
Yep.
Our commentators then talk about matches we're going to see, including Larry talking about being gay and how Hennig is going to need it after the Crippler is done with him, as the crowd chants his name.
People are loving Larry.
Yeah, they are.
He got involved. I couldn't be more happy for the man, as we all, I don't want to talk for everybody, but we appreciate Larry Zbyszko.
Oh, yeah. I may not always announce it, but he's in my heart.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So we go to our second match, Billy Kidman versus Alex Wright.
Hey there, new feller.
Tenay lets us know that Alex has lost the television title, but also lost just this past Saturday to Kidman.
On the streak.
So he's here to attempt to get his win back. And our two competitors shove and slap each other, with Wright taking control of strikes before throwing Billy to the ground. Kidman is regrouping when he sees Raven and Perry Saturn sitting at ringside. But he makes his way back in to nail an arm drag and a dropkick to send Alex to the floor, where Billy follows out with a slingshot plancha. And Tony sends us to the back where we see Mongo and Debra arguing, when Double J would try to calm everyone down, only for the Queen to slap her husband, leaving McMichael muttering as the action in the ring continues, with Wright hot-shotting and body-slamming Kidman.
I gotta say, them Debra slaps, she
lays them in.
But, yeah. I
You can tell her marriage frustrations there, and that has to be one of the most awesome things for somebody who is either separated or getting ready for a divorce or something, to just get paid to literally slap the shit out of your husband.
She's going to do it, twice on the show. Pretty crazy.
Alex heads up top for a jump stop to the gunt before hitting a running back elbow in a corner, followed by a back suplex for a 2 count. Billy then ducks a clothesline and jumps on the back of Wright, taking him down with a sunset flip pin attempt for a near fall. But Alex is right back up with a clothesline to slow the momentum. Kidman reverses a suplex attempt with a jawbreaker to fire up, followed by a second rope missile dropkick and a clothesline, when Wright reverses a whip, only to telegraph a back body drop. So Billy drops him onto his knee and delivers a tornado bulldog for a 2 count. Kidman heads up top, but he hesitates before attempting a 450 splash,
Don't take too much time.
allowing Alex to move in time and nail a German suplex for the pin and the win.
I love it. I know Raven does this from time to time, but why would you wear a Sandman comic t-shirt if you're wrestling the Sandman for the last, couple of years? I guess it's because he's obsessed with death. But still,
he's a big comic fan.
How many, he's got to be. But how many people, were watching wrestling or reading Vertigo Comics Sandman?
It's one of the most popular comic book series of all time.
I know.
I mean, wrestling.
That's a good
wrestling
point.
fans, comic
that's a good
fans.
point.
A lot of times they're
there's 2 of them at the table at least.
Yep.
Or comic book fans.
Yep.
So, fun fact for you guys: Billy would actually join what would be known as the Flock in WCW the very next week.
Yeah. Sorry, Billy.
So they're just taking their time with the slow burn of the Flock setting up, right?
Oh yeah.
Does anybody, honestly, probably more interesting than watching Raven wrestle.
Currently, they've got Saturn, who's injured, Stevie, who's injured, Raven, who spent the last 2 years, the majority of it, injured. So they're.
He doesn't have the hops of his past iteration as Scotty Flamingo.
No.
And he's a pretty stationary man at this point.
I'm just glad that they didn't give him a microphone.
We go to commercial, but come back to the Nitro girls dancing in the ring. And while they dance, Tony talks about the Nitro Party contest and how to get the Nitro girls at your party.
I don't want them at my party.
I mean, only if Kimberly's coming.
But
we know she's not.
They probably just call an escort service and send them some WCW shirts so nobody has to travel.
These are our reserve Nitro girls.
The B squad.
Yeah, we get the NWO sold out lineup of ladies.
There you go. Yeah. So we go to our third match. Mortis with James Vandenberg versus the Cat, Ernest Miller.
First time we've seen him alone, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Cat hits a snapmare, hip toss, roundhouse kick, and a body slam for a 2 count to start, followed by going up top, only for Vandenberg to shake the ropes, causing Miller to crotch himself. And Mortis uses the opening to take control with strikes before heading up top himself for a leg drop bulldog. But he screws it up, so Mortis uses the ropes for leverage, but the ref catches him. Mortis with kicks, hammering away in a corner, followed by a fireman's carry for a near fall, which brings James to the apron to argue, allowing Miller to be thrown over the ropes, where Vandenberg gets a shot in as well. And Shivani says that he has just been handed a note from the WCW Executive Committee. Disco Inferno versus Miss Jackie for the WCW World Television Championship will happen at Halloween Havoc.
Wait, so we get Hogan versus Piper for the final time? And Disco Inferno versus Jacqueline?
That's right.
Ooh! Wait. Oh, wait. I forgot we already gave the spoiler away that Jarrett doesn't make it. Damn, I was going to throw that in there. Oh, nuts.
Yeah, Mongo versus Jarrett.
Again?
2. Mortis then brings the cat back into the ring the hard way for a 2 count, before Miller fires up with strikes and a leg sweep. However, Mortis responds with chokes and an inverted Russian leg sweep for a near fall. Mortis telegraphs a back body drop, allowing the cat to go for a sunset flip. But Mortis stays up and punches down, before sitting on the shoulders for a 2 count. Mortis continues with the body slam and heads up top, only for Miller to move in time, kick Mortis in the back of the head, and go to the top himself to deliver a springboard roundhouse kick for the pin and the win. Post-match, the cat stalks after Vandenberg, sending him running to the back as we head to commercial.
It was nice for Ernest Miller.
Oh, yeah.
His little kick combo at the end was pretty neat.
He looks so young and fresh.
Very thin man.
Yeah.
We come back to an NWO paid announcement, where we see highlights of Macho Man and DDP's feud being shown as the narrator calls Savage the Czar of Madness.
It's a pretty great nickname.
Yeah.
The narrator continues that a shower of elbows have rained from the heavens, removing the luster from the Diamond Boy's career, before seeing that Macho has accepted another match with Paige. So now we have DDP and Savage on Halloween Havoc.
I mean, I'm okay with that one.
I'm good with that one.
Yeah.
Back in the arena, Tony then shows us footage of Scott Hall losing to Hector Garza due to a surprise roll-up, which then leads us into our 4th match. Scott Hall with Syxx versus Hector Garza. And Bobby the Brain Heenan has now joined the announce table, while Hall takes the mic to say that they heard a rumor that maybe people came to see WCW, but the crowd responds with a bigger pop for the NWO. At least this crowd doesn't know what they're talking about.
No, I mean, it's Minnesota. They got some cheese on the brain or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Scott continues saying that Nash is resting at home as he's hurt his knee. Scott's also injured, and the average man would be in the hospital. But I'm not an average man.
I mean, yeah, he's cheesing it up.
Everyone's saying it sure is convenient that he and Kevin got hurt at the same time. But it's because they were at the house watching Zbyszko wrestling and started laughing so hard that they fell out of their chairs.
I mean, neither man has any right to be laughing at the skills of one Larry Zbyszko.
Yep.
I mean, Kevin Nash has only ever been carried to a good match. And it was a hard job for Bret Hart.
The crowd begins to chant for Larry, but Hall says he won't come out, before also telling Luger that he will crawl to Halloween Havoc, if need be, to take him out. So it sounds like we're going to have Luger and Scott Hall.
I mean, that sounds great.
Could be fun.
Could be.
And the start of the 2nd hour, Pyro goes off, followed by Hector making his way to the ring, while the ref gets checked by Scott for any issues with his attire, while allowing Syxx to check him out.
Yeah, I mean, they are hamming it up so big.
Yeah.
With the rib injury, and, they're in, I'd call it rare form, but at least it's more watchable than most NWO ham jobs.
Hall then blindsides Garza with a clothesline, stomps, and a fallaway slam, but then acts like his ribs are hurting before returning to choking Hector. And Scott continues to pester the ref, allowing Syxx to jump in the ring to nail a Bronco Buster on Hector, followed by an outsider's edge from Hall for the pin and the win. Post-match, as the ref raises Scott's arm in victory, the Kid kicks him in the back of the head before Hall lifts him up into the torture rack, followed by spray painting Z on his shirt.
I mean, I do love the rib bit because he does it absolutely correctly. He sells them, and then every move he does in this short match would kill your ribs if they were hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single thing. And then, so this is one of the more entertaining or interesting NWO bullshit things we've seen. And probably helps that it's pretty quick and to the point.
Yeah.
And Scott Hall's just better at doing this than everybody else anyway.
Absolutely. Our announcers then discuss the rest of the matches for the evening. Today brings up that Flair could make his return tonight before Tony turns to the Brain to ask about Bill Goldberg.
Is it that time already?
I know, I was surprised how early.
Bill had debuted a couple of weeks earlier, already having upset wins on Nitro versus Hugh Morris and the Barbarian. And Heenan says that he's going places, followed by Shivani wondering what Goldberg has to hide, as he won't talk to Mean Gene, before they send it to a video package with highlights from that Hugh Morris match, his debut, and his days as a Georgia Bulldog and Atlanta Falcon football player. So he's 3 weeks in, they're already hyping him up.
I mean, and yeah, he beat two very large men. I mean, obviously, Barbarian is the largest pin eater known to man at this point, and Hugh Morris is a large man. So, yeah.
Just remember, on this episode, he so far has 2 wins. So on the next one, which is, I'm guessing Halloween Havoc is going to be the next WCW show that we watch. I could be wrong, but we'll have to see if they show his count then, of how many, if he's gone to like 72 wins or something.
This is our new segment. Yeah.
How many wins does Goldberg have?
Because they're not doing like house shows, so like they just inflate it for fun, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll put a counter on it.
Uh-huh.
So here we go. 2.
We head to commercial, but again come back to the Nitro Girls dancing on the stage area.
Yeah, they are.
We then go to our 5th match, Disco Inferno versus Diamond Dallas Page with Kimberly for the WCW World Television Championship. And the champion came out first. Foreshadowing. But also, just so you know, Inferno won the belt from Alex Wright just a couple of weeks earlier on an episode of Nitro.
What did Alex do to deserve that? From one dancing man to another.
Yep.
I might tell you here in a couple weeks.
Oh, cool.
Uh-oh.
You've been a bad boy.
It's actually a pretty fun story.
Okay, cool.
Disco arm drags DDP and dances when Page nearly catches Inferno with his finisher, only for Disco to escape to the floor to regroup.
I love that because he loses his mind and it just proves how devastating the Diamond Cutter is. He's like, all right, yeah. It was basically like just checking him, like, how serious are you, brother?
They continue to go back and forth until DDP hits a body slam and a swinging neckbreaker, again sending Inferno out to regroup, only for Page to baseball slide to knock Disco into the railing, followed by DDP flying over the ropes with a plancha. They head back into the ring where Page runs into a back elbow before Inferno charges out of a corner with a clothesline to the back of the head. Disco keeps up the attack with stomps, but he telegraphs a back body drop, allowing DDP to turn him over into a backslide pin attempt for a 2 count. And Inferno retaliates with a swinging neckbreaker for a near fall, only for Page to fire up with right hands and a pancake, followed by delivering the Diamond Cutter. Bang! But all of a sudden, Savage runs down to attack DDP from behind to cause a disqualification, making Page the winner. Post-match, Macho tosses DDP to the floor, whips him into the steel steps, before exposing the concrete to nail a piledriver, only for Roddy Piper to make his way to ringside to save Page. And Savage shoves Roddy, so Piper spits on him, which allows DDP to grab Macho for a Diamond Cutter onto the concrete. The rest of the NWO come out, chasing off Page and Roddy, who escape through the crowd, followed by EMTs bringing out a stretcher to load Savage, with Elizabeth distraught as we head to commercial.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, as Elizabeth ran down the runway to get to the ring, it just brought back all these emotions from all the years in the WWF when you'd see her doing the same thing. Like, oh, look at her, even though, in real life they were exes who, I don't know if they really liked each other all that much, and they were just doing it for the money only.
Randy's a hard man to get along with. But, she's getting paid well.
Yes.
But by no means do they need her there.
And then also, Savage sold the hell out of that diamond cutter on concrete to the point that I thought he hit his head on the leg of the railing or something like that because he was dead to the world.
I mean, we talk about him with reverence for a reason.
Yeah.
The another thing, this really bummed me out, is that we were supposed to have a Macho and Chris Benoit match on this show. Yeah. I was like, damn, I want to see that. That sounds interesting.
I forgot about that.
And and then I was like, I don't think it's gonna happen now. He just did a stretcher job.
Yeah. We then come back to Mean Gene in the ring, and he introduces Roddy Piper, who shouts out the Twin Cities, and if Hogan was a twin, he'd nearly have a full head of hair. Roddy calls Hall a liar for claiming he beat him, before showing a clip from Slamboree that shows Piper pummeling him. Roddy continues that the Outsiders will defend their titles next week, no matter their injuries, or will be stripped of the titles. Before saying Macho and DDP's match at Havoc will now have no rules, meaning the winner will be determined by who can answer a 10 count.
So that's right. Texas Deathmatch.
There is no time limit. You fight all night long. Just start at the beginning and just keep beating the shit out of each other while other matches are going on.
Oh man, I hope that's what the gimmick is.
At this point, Hollywood, Hogan, and Eric Bischoff make their way to the ring, looking very displeased and staring down Piper.
The crowd seems to like NWO. They're booing Hogan and Bischoff, so they're not complete whack jobs.
Hogan wants the icon crap to stop right here, because Piper could never be an icon because I still exist. Our careers did parallel for 15 years, but Roddy stood in the shadows. The reason everyone is here is because of me and the NWO. Hollywood continues that Piper won't be able to run or hide in a steel cage, that he's going to end Roddy's career so he can tell his family that he's not lying, because he's coming home. The two men then shove each other when Bischoff would clip the knee, allowing Hogan to attack, hammering away until he holds Piper for Eric to nail a kick. But Roddy moves, causing Hollywood to take the blow. Piper and Hogan then roll around on the mat, duking it out, when the rest of the NWO would come down to pull their leader to safety, as Roddy waves the title around as we go to commercial.
I mean, maybe the best Hogan promo in quite a while, and the segment was very well done considering it involved Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan, and Roddy Piper wasn't the only guy that did a good job.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You gotta, as much as you hate a couple of guys, you gotta give them their flowers when they bloom.
Oh yeah.
We come back to the Nitro girls dancing in the ring again. And Tony gives us some updates about a match stipulation to the Jarrett Mongo match at Havoc. Debra must leave WCW if McMichael wins. But as we know, that match doesn't happen.
So I wonder if since the match doesn't happen, if that's just her exit from the company then. Or she has one more little...
She still sticks around for a little bit longer.
Okay, I couldn't remember for sure.
Match didn't happen.
She didn't have to leave.
That's why he left. He wanted to make sure Debra got paid.
Shivani then sends it to a video package where Tenay gives us a Lucha Libre lesson.
I mean, this is great stuff.
Mm-hmm. He goes on to say the literal translation means free fight, but is the term Mexico uses for wrestling. And in 1932, boxing promoter Salvador Luderoff saw American pro wrestling for the first time while visiting Texas. And 1 year later, he would promote the first ever wrestling card in Mexico, beginning a streak of 64 consecutive years of Lucha Libre at Arena Mexico in Mexico City. In 1934, Luderoff added masked wrestlers, the Mystery proving to be huge drawing cards, as Lucha would boom in the 40s with stars such as El Santo and Gory Guerrero. The 1950s would see the advent of television and the cinema, where Santo would be portrayed as superheroes in a series of entertaining B-movies. Battle lines would be drawn between Rudos and Technicos. Rudo meaning rough or rude, someone who uses an unorthodox brand of wrestling, while Technico relies on technical math skills and often are fan favorites. The 1980s were the era of the second generation wrestler, as sons of prominent wrestlers came into prominence, such as Hio Del Santo and Eddie Guerrero. And in 1994, WCW co-promoted the first pay-per-view featuring luchadors, When Worlds Collide, which we covered on episode 134. This was step one in forming an association with the various promotions from Mexico, like EMLL, Promo Aztecas, AAA, and UWA. And WCW went back to the past to find the future of pro wrestling, as associations between the U.S.-based promoters and Mexico date back over 50 years. Next time, we'll explore the mystery and history of the mask and the role that plays in Lucha Libre.
So well done. What a fun little segment. I did really like this when they talked about each of the promotions. They're like, EMLL, it's the oldest one. It's like Aztecas, it's a new up-and-coming promotion. AAA, the co-promoter of When Worlds Collide. UWA, that's what it says, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, UWA. It's like, that was popular in the mid-70s, but it's not doing so hot anymore. But I got a kick out of that, yeah. They didn't say it exactly like that, but it's like, but has, subdued in recent years or whatever. But I really got a kick out of them being so nice about it. Mike Tenay, he's the man to do this, and we love him for it. And it was well put together package, considering, WCW's production has gotten better, but they just, are never going to be as good at it as the WWF, because the WWF's been doing it for longer and at a higher level, and they know wrestling. Whereas not
I think a lot of it, the difference between the two is WWF has one voice that's over everything. WCW has a room full of people.
Yeah. So
literally everything could be slightly different.
Yeah.
That's the difference between the two.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, one's more cohesive vision, where the other one feels more like a grab bag, because
that's what it is.
Yeah.
So we go to our sixth match. Eddie Guerrero versus Ultimo Dragon for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship.
They dropped the Ultimate. Finally started calling him Ultimo.
This week, anyways.
Yeah.
The champion came out first. Foreshadowing.
I've been seeing some pyro for our Ultimate Dragon.
Yeah, I had to double check, because the amount of pyro that was going on for Ultimo Dragon at that time, I thought, wait, is this only the start of the hour? Like, here?
No.
I knew it was I thought it was close to the end of the show, but yeah, with all the fireworks that were going off, it's like, holy shit.
It was just for our, everybody's favorite masked wrestler in this promotion at the moment.
So our competitors are back and forth to start, including a test of strength.
Ooh.
Monkey flips, head scissors, and back elbows. Guerrero with a back suplex and goes to the apron for a slingshot somersault splash. But Ultimo moves in time, sending the two running the ropes, where Dragon catches Eddie for a tilt-a-whirl slam and stiff kicks. And Eddie recovers to hit a clothesline and a vertical suplex for a 2 count, before applying an ab stretch momentarily, followed by chops and a pop-up powerbomb attempt, only for Ultimo to counter it into a hurricanrana for an air fall. Guerrero reverses a whip, catching Dragon for a tilt-a-whirl, but Ultimo spins free and nails a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker of his own, before delivering a flurry of kicks and chops, sending Eddie out to regroup. But Dragon doesn't let him rest long, as he flies to the ropes with a tope suicida to knock Guerrero into the railing, followed by making their way back into the ring, where Ultimo hits a release German for the pin, and no, Eddie kicks out. Dragon then sets up for a powerbomb, only for Guerrero to flip free and go for one of his own. But Ultimo counters it into the Dragon Sleeper, forcing Eddie to make the ropes. Ultimo then places Guerrero on the top turnbuckle, climbing up for a twisting Rana, only to be shoved off, leading to the two men trading strikes, when Eddie would nail a tornado DDT, followed by heading back up to deliver the frog splash for the pin and the win.
Frog splash.
That was a far.
It was far, yeah. It was like over halfway across the ring. He caught some of it.
But he landed it kind of like a Benoit.
Yeah, it felt more like almost a headbutt to the gut.
Yeah. Like he got his arms across the man. That's the thing. But yeah, I mean, he was way out there.
Yeah, this version of Eddie was the Eddie that I think I liked the most. Just the look of him. He just has that sleek look, the slick hair. He just looks like he's in there to fuck some shit up. He's got that attitude written on his face. Not smiling, not playing any games.
No, it looks like a dickhead.
Yeah.
We head to commercial, coming back to our announcers discussing the main event, where they send it to video from WCW Saturday Night, where Benoit and Hennig had faced each other. But other members of the NWO would eventually arrive to attack and overwhelm him.
Imagine that.
Well, so the announcers also tell us that since Savage's got hurt, Benoit needed a new opponent. So we get our 7th match, the Crippler, Chris Benoit, versus Curt Hennig for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship.
I was bummed, like, Chris Benoit comes out to, like, a generic beat and not the Four Horsemen music.
Yeah. Well, didn't he announce himself as no longer a horseman or something like that?
So after Fall Brawl, Flair basically went to Mongo and Benoit and basically was like, just go your own way. The Horsemen are no more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not the same without Arn.
I mean,
it's not.
Yeah.
If there's no enforcer, then what the hell are we doing?
So the last time we saw the U.S. title defended was at Bash at the Beach 97, episode 261, when Jarrett would retain versus Mongo. The belt has since been won by McMichael and now Curt over the last couple of months. And Hennig stops to talk to a fan on his way out, so Benoit comes out from the ring and clips him, hammering away to start in the aisleway, including a massive chop that knocks Curt into the steel steps. Like, literally, took him up off his feet.
Yeah, it was great.
They make their way into the ring, where the Crippler continues the punishment with strikes, knee lifts, a front suplex onto the ropes, and knocking him off the apron to send Hennig crashing into the railing, followed by slamming him face first into the ring steps. Back in the ring, Benoit goes up top, only for Curt to pull him off with a dragon screw leg whip, allowing Hennig to start working the leg, wrapping it around a post multiple times, stomping on it against the guardrail as we head to commercial. And we come back to the action in the ring, where the Crippler fires up with chops and kicks, but Curt responds with right hands of his own to take Benoit down to keep up the legwork.
You think don't see as many, dragon screw leg whips, because it's such a great looking move, but do you think that some people just don't trust people with their knees?
Possibly.
I mean, it's why don't we see that as often as we do? Because it seems like about the coolest way you can do a leg takedown.
So
it looks great. It doesn't look dangerous, but I can see that if somebody laid in, you're pretty vulnerable, and they could really fuck you up.
I mean, this is where the big boys play. So
yeah.
Maybe the boys are too big for...
The only people that I see doing it is the people who've wrestled in Japan.
Yeah, for sure.
Hennig removes the turnbuckle pad and goes for a whip, only for it to be reversed, sending Curt chest first into the exposed corner.
I know, that was not a Chekhov's turnbuckle. That was a meat hit.
Yeah.
Followed by a German suplex, with the Crippler holding on, only for Hennig to escape with a back elbow. After another whip, Benoit charges in, only for Curt to move, allowing him to deliver the Hennigplex for the pin and the win. Post-match, Curt continues to beat down the Crippler, joined by the B squad of the NWO, when Ric Flair would run down to clear the ring, chasing Hennig into the streets of Minneapolis. The Nature Boy would head back into the arena where Mean Gene was waiting for him on the stage, wanting an update from Nate.
Mean Woo Gene!
Flair takes the mic and heads to the ring as we're gonna talk reality. Woo! Everyone on Earth should have a moment like this, telling Nash, Hall, and Hogan that this is the moment, and it is reality. The Nature Boy reminds everyone what has happened to him over the years, and yet he is still here tonight. He's Minneapolis born and bred, and will be Minneapolis dead. Nate continues that it's not politics, as they have wanted him out for 10 years, and not about who is better, as arguably no one is better, before turning his attention to Hennig, who is giddy about beating Flair up. And now, Curt, you were NWO not for life, but for 3 weeks, because whether or not they book it, I'm coming for you at Havoc. Nature Boy says he's coming to hurt Hennig for real, and for a long time. And then Hollywood, if there's anything left after Piper gets done with him, I'm coming for you too. Nate says he and Hogan have traveled at the same level. In our books, I'm Dory Funk, Jack Briscoe, Harley Race, Bruiser Brody, Dusty Rhodes. I am Ric Flair, and I have been there. Followed by Tony giving his goodbyes, and we fade to black.
I mean, come on. How are we going to get the best Rick and Hogan promos in quite a while in one show? We all know that Hogan doesn't quite have the promo skills that Ric Flair has, but we've seen Ric Flair not feeling it, and he is 110% feeling himself, and my God, what a way to go off the air.
Yes.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of WCW Monday Night Nitro from October 6th, 1997?
There were solid TV matches, and it felt like everything had a purpose for the most part. It's like, how many people care about Mortis and Ernest the Cat Miller? That's been going on for a long time. But everything, they at least, like you saw the thought process for everything that happened on the show. Feels like WCW might kind of be doing it right at the moment. Who knows for how long. This is just one episode of TV. They got another one next week.
I mean, kind of along the lines of what you said there. The Flair promo was everything that I want from Ric Flair. You had the intensity, you had the history, you had the woo, you had the I don't care what they say, I'm coming to kick your ass because I'm Ric Flair and you're not.
I mean, I almost got goosebumps when he said they've been trying to get rid of me for 10 years. And I was like,
it's not a bad show. I'm trying to remember if I watched this back when it was new, but I don't know, it just feels like it's planting the seeds for things to come, or what they think are things to come in some senses, because we already know that one of the matches that they've announced for the Halloween Havoc isn't going to be happening now. Yeah, I don't know, it's telling the story, getting us to the next
the next pay-per-view, and it seems like that they're starting it decent time. Yeah. Like, this is everything that happened is kind of carryover, but like in a logical way, moving towards the next pay-per-view, and it's just the beginning of October here. So
yep. Other than the opening NWO promo, I have no complaints about this show.
Yeah, I'm with you. That opening, like the Hogan Bischoff at the beginning of the show, really bad. Hogan and Bischoff in the middle of the show, really good. Yeah. And then, of course, Ric Flair feels like he's excited and not excited from drugs and alcohol. Because we've seen promos from like that with him on drugs and alcohol, and they normally don't go over as well.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about what matches that we already know are going to be on the next pay-per-view. And we're 3.5 weeks away from that show. There's been many times we've watched the Go Home Nitro.
We don't know what's going to be on.
And we literally have no clue what's going to be on the show than the pay-per-view that next week.
Yeah.
So I'm like...
maybe they've been taking notes.
Doing something.
Yeah.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
I mean, the Rick promo is like almost number one.
Super hot ending.
A bullet. But as far as in ring, Eddie and Chris just being like their wonderful dickhead selves, I obviously very much appreciated. Ultimo Dragon, Eddie Guerrero, was great. It was not a short list match, but if it went another 5 minutes on a pay-per-view, it could have been there.
Scott Hall selling the ribs.
Like that's some of the best NWO like match fuckery, most entertaining match fuckery I've seen from them in a long time. Because normally we just roll our eyes and get annoyed, but this number one was funny and the psychology was all there. It was goofy, but it was the right kind of goofy.
I mean, I enjoyed the Kidman debut.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that was fun.
I love
how young he looked when he first started.
I've always been a big fan of Kidman, and to like kind of see the start of his upward... Because he's been around as basically a jobber, an enhancement talent for, I think, like a year or so now in WCW, but he's finally... actually going to start getting a push at this point.
Well, it seems like they're doing the 1, 2, 3 kid thing with him a bit.
A bit.
I mean, it's not a 1-to-1.
I mean, his gimmick after joining the flock, he basically acts like he has a heroin addict. He's a heroin addict, and he just scratches at himself. Mm-hmm. So he kind of gets lost a little bit in the flock stuff, but
that's why I was.
But you also can, when watching any of those matches, you can always tell that he's the most talented one. Out of all of them. Yep. So when he finally does kind of get past that gimmick, he's the super babyface underdog that...
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Doesn't look or seem like the kind of guy they should be selling as a heroin addict, but what do I know?
I mean, he's
small.
He's a small guy, so I get where they were going with it.
And if you're going to put him with Raven and Saturn, who... look like heroin might be
drug of choice,
either the drug of choice or how they finish up the night after having all of their other drugs of choice. You got to give them some sort of an affliction.
Macho taking the diamond cutter on the concrete.
Taking the diamond cutter was great. Selling it the way that he did, and then having the 1980s throwback of Miss Elizabeth running down to stand by her man.
Yeah, he does the ambulance job. The NWO legitimately is concerned and angry. Sounds like we like the show. Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mike Tenay in his little video package.
The Lucha package was great.
Yeah. That was the best thing on the show. Like, literally, I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm just like, this is the Dusty finish on TV.
Yeah. I know, it's like, I know all the things that he said already. I mean, not all the things. It's like, Rudo and, like, Technico. It's like, but, like, they gave to an audience that has no reason to know this.
Yeah, see, I think the Rudo part was the part of it that I appreciated the most, because I've heard you guys say Rudo before. Mm-hmm. I don't really know what the fuck you're talking about. I mean Technico was easy because it kind of says,
just heel and face essentially, but but Mike Tenay does such a great job of explaining it without using those dirty words.
Mm-hmm.
How about most disappointing?
Finding out that Kidman was going to be joining the flock so soon, because that was as soon as you had said that in the notes there, it was just like, oh damn, how are you gonna stuff him in there? I was hoping he'd get a little more time to shine before he's addicted in scratching.
The Horsemen are no more.
Yeah, Horsemen are no more. We didn't get Savage versus Benoit.
Yeah. I mean, but it makes sense.
Oh,
like,
sorry. I gotta throw one more thing on the best.
Okay.
Debra slap. On
yeah.
Monroe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The backstage one.
Yeah.
She hauled off and hit him the way that I've wanted to hit him since the first time I saw him carrying that stupid fucking puppy on TV.
that little dog, little rat dog.
I mean, I'm sad to see Jarrett go because I think he
Yeah.
fits better here in WCW than he ever does in WWF.
He does, but I'm also excited for where he's going just because I enjoyed where he was for the next couple of years. He got to shine with one of our other favorites up until that other favorites end.
I'm trying to think of other disappointing things. 'Cause, like, it's Jarrett. I know he's going to be around, but...
Oh, well, I mean, one of the things that... Obviously, TV show, so I understand the limitations on how much wrestling we're actually going to get.
Yeah.
But, yeah, would have loved some of these matches to have gotten a couple more minutes. Because they... Like, some of these matches are very, very good and, like, could have added an extra half star with, like, 2 more minutes.
Yeah, but it's like we got to save it for pay-per-view.
Because, like, literally our main event, it feels like they ran short on time. Because it felt like Benoit was in control, and then all of a sudden they were like, go to the finish!
Yeah.
And Hennig hits the Hennig Plex, and match is over. Because we got to get the Flair thing in before time runs out.
For sure. It was a surprising finish because Chris Benoit was putting on a great dickhead performance and was really running roughshod over Hennig. But he got caught in the perfect plex. It's like, well, I don't quite believe that he would have just got caught in the perfect plex.
Yeah, had they just completely skipped over that opening NWO promo, we probably could have had a better main event.
Yeah, we'd have almost,
Extra 3 minutes.
Add Hogan shit-talking Sting during his little segment in the middle there where...
Yeah, it was all,
You're going to be an asshole,
Because literally, that segment made absolutely no sense unless you either, one, have been watching every week, or someone explains it to you.
Yeah.
Which I decided not to because we'll talk more about it once Abbott gets here.
Yeah, it's also it's so short that it's not even worth mentioning.
Yeah. How about best performer of the night?
It's a tough one.
Yeah, a lot of guys had great performances, super high on the Ric Flair promo because, nobody, when he's doing it his best, there's not really many people that have reached those heights. In his hometown and stoked, so who knows how long that lasts. He got me very excited.
I'm giving it to Mike today.
So yeah, I was torn.
Can't argue with it.
Yeah, Mike's was good, but his was a full-on production. Rick's was in the moment, from the heart. Debra and her slap again, in the moment, from the heart. Add this extra 0 to the settlement. Yeah, I'll go with Tornado.
And how about most surprising?
That we didn't really bitch as much as I thought we were going to bitch about a Monday Nitro.
I mean, yeah. I was like, the surprise to me was like, this is like a good television wrestling show. Yeah, it's a good television wrestling show where things are building. There's things that are interconnected, but it's not too convoluted. You kind of understand everything that's going on, context, and there's some fun things to look forward to. Yeah. That's what should be happening it's how you should feel at the end of a wrestling show.
A lot of times we're set up for failure with a large crowd and a big rating, so I didn't know what to expect really with it.
I got to give Ernest, the Cat Miller, some flowers.
Yeah. Obviously he's a karate man, but those kick combos and stuff were really fun.
So just for him to go out there first solo match basically and put on that performance definitely surprised me. So
I agree completely. I was kind of nervous for him, and when the match was over, I was like, good for you. I feel good for Ernest the Cat Miller. Not something that I necessarily expected. I guess that's why it's surprising.
I'll say surprising for me was just the start of the Booker solo run. I didn't realize it.
That's true.
Kicked in here.
Yeah, because so early in the show, so much happened in it.
Yeah, like I said, this episode had a lot of seed planting for the future, so it makes me excited for future shows, but hopefully I'll still be excited once those shows come along.
Yeah, because if they could do this every week.
It's kind of the reason they were ahead for 83 weeks. Now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
Keiji Muto had defended the IWGP Heavyweight Championship for the past 7 months when he walked into the Tokyo Dome on January 4th, 1996, to face the biggest star from the rival promotion of UWFI, Nobuhiko Takada, at Wrestling World. Takada, born 1962, would train in the New Japan Dojo under Fujiwara before making his pro wrestling debut in 1981. He would spend his time as a young lion as Antonio Inoki's personal assistant, while also being Hulk Hogan's assistant on his Japanese tours. He would continue to work in New Japan and the newly formed Universal Wrestling Federation through the 80s, winning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship in 86, followed by the Tag Team Championships in 87. By the early 90s, Nobuhiko would form the Union of Wrestling Forces International, which focused more on shoot style, leading to matches with boxers, wrestlers, and MMA fighters over the years. In 1995, the UWFI would begin to invade New Japan, leading to the largest crowd and gate in Japanese wrestling history at the time, in October. After defeating Muta for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, he would be the only wrestler to have held all 3 of the major New Japan titles at the time. For his accomplishments, Takada is a member of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame. He would defend the belt over the next few months when a former champion would come kicking for a match.
That poor guy. He had to be Inoki and Hogan's assistant. Dude.
I mean, when you're a young lion, you do whatever you're told.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it paid off.
Yeah. I mean, he had an impressive career after that, but damn, that's just poor guy.
I mean, I don't know if it's poor guy. I mean,
you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
I mean, you get a little bit of a leg up in the...
Yeah.
When you just figured it'd make you want to run kicking and screaming away from the wrestling industry, having to...
I mean, he never would have
got
got
after those two.
The chances to get those opportunities.
I mean, this is before Hogan was big, though, so...
Okay. So, yeah, he probably wasn't the full-on ass clown that he was by then in later years.
Correct.
Cool.
This is not the Hogan that we saw in New Japan.
No. It's not really even the Hogan in WWF.
No.
It's
AWA,
yeah. Next week, WWF Monday Night Raw from October 6th, 1997.
Oh my gosh. How can we be in 2 places at once? I don't even have my remote. I don't even think my remote has a last button on it anymore.
Welcome to the 90s, y'all. This is what I did every Monday back in the 90s. Well, you watch one, you watch the other.
Mm-hmm. We could put out a bonus episode where we play both episodes at the same time.
We cut back and forth at each commercial break.
Yes. Yeah. That would be how you really watched it back in the day when you were watching live.
I mean, I did it too, but I watched in started watching 90.
That's why when Picture in Picture came along, holy shit, that was so great. Yeah,
I started watching 98 and got in on WWF, so I'd look at what was happening on WCW, but I had no real interest. It's just like, well, there's commercials on, so I'll see what's happening on the other show.
Yep, and then you get lost. Something awesome would be happening during that commercial break, and oh shit, it's been 45 minutes. Fuck! I can't rewind!
Yeah, I didn't get lost. I was never a WCW guy.
Music from this week's show is Firestorm and Curt Hennig, who's now in the NWO, so we play his music. Rockhouse by FCO Music. If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcasts at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars. It's a 5-star episode of television.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
We're headed to Kansas City next week. If you got any ideas of what the hell we should have, whether it be food, beverage, dessert, snack, whatever, give me some ideas. Give us a shout out on the Twitter sphere. Let me know, or hit us up, send us an email, something. I know we've got to have Philly on the horizon at some point too.
Everybody knows about the Philly.
Well,
Philly
I'm hoping
issue.
that they're going to start dwindling down a little more.
Okay.
But I'm just going to throw it out there. I
think they're
haven't
going to
said
start
please.
dwindling down now.
Please send me
97.
some Philly stuff.
Shane, I'm so sorry to tell you that they're only going to ramp up.
yeah, they'll probably ramp down.
Think so?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
You're still my sunshine.
Okay.
But you can do any of those things at our email at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's WrestlingHistoX. We'll talk to you next week.
I will buy you a new life. Laters. I miss your old song already, Curt.